Hello everyone. Today's video is about the molecular basis of inheritance, part 1. Today we are going to see the basics of nucleic acids, the types, and the packaging into the eukaryotes. So we all know that nucleic acid is a macromolecule. This nucleic acid is present in all the living organisms. Friedrich Mischer is the one who isolated this nucleic acid from the pus cells. So previously he called those nucleic acids as nuclein. So Altman is a person who called it as nucleic acid because this nucleic acid is found to have an acidic properties. So he called this nuclein into nucleic acid, which was elucidated by Altman. We all know that there are two types of nucleic acids found in all the living organisms. The first one is DNA, which means deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acids. So this DNA acts as genetic material in most of the organism. The RNA also acts as a genetic material in some viruses and mostly functions as a messenger RNA. It has several other additionals to play as well. We'll see those things in the later classes. So the RNA also functions as an adapter, and in some cases it acts as a catalytic molecule. The most interesting molecule in the living system is DNA. So let's understand what is DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. So it is a long polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. The length of the DNA depends on the number of nucleotides, which means a base, sugar, and a phosphate present in it. So this is the characteristics of the organism. So it depends upon the number of nucleotides that is present in the DNA. We determine the length of the DNA. For example, in bacteriophage, you will find 174, 5 into 174 has 5,386 nucleotide, and the Escherichia coli has 4.6 into 10 to the power of 6 base pairs, and the human DNA is 3.3 into 10 to the power of 9 base pairs. This is the haploid content of the human DNA. So let's understand what DNA is about. So this is the coded information that's being passed on from generation to another generation. So we all know that it is a polymer which has deoxyribonucleotides. So eukaryotic cell DNA is found in the nucleus. So if you find DNA in a eukaryotes, this is found in the nucleus. It is the chief component of the chromosomes. And this DNA is also present in mitochondria and chloroplast in eukaryotes. So we need to study this DNA chemically. So what is this DNA is composed of, or how it is made up of? The first thing is we need to understand the sugar that is present in DNA. So this sugar is deoxyribose sugar, which is a pentose sugar, which means there is a 5 carbon having the molecular formula of C5H10O6. So you can find deoxyribonucleic acid. There is the first position, second position. In the second position, there is a removal of oxygen. That's the reason we call it as deoxy, and this is a ribose sugar, so we call it as deoxyribose. Another one is there is the presence of phosphate group. What is the one which provides DNA negative charge? Is the presence of phosphate groups. Because of the presence of the phosphate group, the DNA is negatively in nature. So the phosphoric acid, which is represented over here, forms the phosphate group. So this molecular formula is H3PO4. It is responsible for the acidic nature of the DNA. This is the one which renders acidity to DNA. The next one is nitrogenous bases. This is very important to study nitrogenous bases. So these nitrogenous bases are mostly aromatic in nature and it contains nitrogen compound in it, and they are mainly divided into two types, which is purines and pyrimidines. So what are purines? So purines are double ring membrane. It is heterocyclic in nature. So you can find here the purines are adenine and guanine. So they have two-membered ring. So adenine and guanine belongs to purine. Adenine we can give it a notation as A and guanine as G. The next nitrogenous base is pyrimidine. So pyrimidines are the single ring structured compound, whereas purines are double structured. The two types of pyrimidines are present in the DNA. If, in case of DNA, it is cytosine and thymine. So cytosine and thymine are the pyrimidines that is present in the DNA. The next we are going to see about what is nucleosides and what are nucleotides. So nucleosides are nothing but the compounds that is formed by the combination of a pentose sugar, which is a ribose sugar. In case of DNA, it is deoxyribose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. It may be adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine bound together. This structure we call it as a nucleoside. The nitrogenous base is attached to the first carbon of the ribose sugar, and this bond we call it as N-glycosidic linkage. And because this bond is able to rotate, there is a stereochemistry behind it. So it's able to rotate around it. We'll study in the later classes. In DNA, the nucleosides are formed by the combination of the deoxy sugar and the nitrogenous base. This picture gives us a clear picture of nucleosides. So, how do we call the nucleosides as? When a nitrogenous base adenine is present along with the deoxyribose sugar, we can call it as deoxyadenosine. Another one is guanine plus deoxy sugar. We call it as deoxyguanosine. There's a spelling mistake, Guanosine. And the next one is cytosine plus deoxyribose sugar, deoxycytidine. And thymine and deoxyribose sugar, deoxythymidine. So we are going to see the differences between the naming, differences between deoxynucleoside and nucleotide. So this is nucleosides. The next one is nucleotides. So we have already studied nucleosides. Now we are going to study nucleotides. So nucleotides are nothing but a combination of a phosphate group and a sugar group and a nitrogenous base. We have already known that a sugar and a nitrogenous base forms a nucleoside. So a phosphate plus nucleoside gives a nucleotide. Here also we have four types of nucleotides that is present in DNA, which are deoxyadenosine monophosphate, deoxyadenosine guanosine monophosphate, deoxycytidine monophosphate, and deoxythymidine monophosphate. There are different cases, like it may be when one phosphate is attached to the fifth position of the carbon, we call it monophosphate. When 2 is present, we call it diphosphate. When 3 is present, we call it triphosphate. So deoxyadenosine triphosphate is also present. The next one is polynucleotide strand. How does a base, a sugar, and a base, sugar, and nitrogenous base combines together and forms the nucleotides, and it combines resulting in the formation of a polynucleotide. It may be of DNA or RNA. So the number of nucleotides you can find here, a phosphate is linked to the 5 position of the sugar, and the base is present at the 5th position of the ribose sugar. So it starts from 5' position, and in the third position, the next phosphate is bound to the third position of the first ribose sugar. So that is why it is like 5' to 3' the DNA runs. So in the fifth position of the ribose, the phosphate is present. In the same sugar, onto the third position, another phosphate is bound, and it goes on. So the number of nucleotide linked each other is by a phosphodiester bond, and this forms a long chain which we call it as a polynucleotide strand. This phosphodiester is between the fifth position and the third position of the carbon of the pentose sugar. So this polynucleotide strand contains fifth and the third end. So who was the one who was responsible for this structure of DNA? We all know that Watson and Crick was the one who first proposed the structural model of DNA in 1953. So they got the Nobel Prize in 1963. This is Watson and Crick. The picture you see here is. According to Watson and Crick, what they said is the DNA contained two polynucleotide strands. As already we've seen, a polynucleotide strand runs from 5' to 3'. They said they have a two polynucleotide which called together in a helical manner, so they call the structure as a helical structure of DNA. So this is the person Watson and this is the person Crick, Francis Crick. So we're going to study about the structure of DNA. So the DNA is a double-stranded polynucleotide molecule. Sugar and the phosphate is the base for the DNA. So we have already seen a sugar being attached to the phosphate. So this is the backbone of the DNA. So these two strands are called together and they are anti-parallel in nature. For example, if one strand runs in 5' to 3', another strands run from 3' to 5', which are opposite to each other, anti-parallel to each other. So the two strands of the DNA has a diameter. So between the first strand and the second strand, if you find the diameter, it is about 20 angstrom. So the adenine of one strand always pairs with the thymine by two hydrogen bonds. So whether it's adenine pairing with thymine with two hydrogen bonds or thymine being pairing with adenine with two hydrogen bonds. So guanine always binds with cytosine, or in another case it's vice versa. Cytosine forms pairs with guanine with three hydrogen bonds. Because of the complementary pair, if one strand of polynucleotide sequence is known, we can detect the other sequences. For example, if you find, if I'm mentioning the fifth strand of it, you can easily find the third strand of it, right? So A is just a complementary to T and G is complementary to C and C is complementary C. So similarly it goes on. So when one strand sequence is known, we can easily find out the other strand sequences. So the complementary strands are twisted each other at a distance. When one groove is twisted at another groove, we find out the distance between the strands is around 34 angstrom, and each twist of the DNA contains 10 base pairs. So the distance between these base pair, if one base pair has AT, next base pair is CG, then the distance between these two pairs are around 3.4 angstrom. You can easily understand here. This is the straight structure of DNA and this is a helical structure of DNA. You can also mention in a nanometer or angstrom unit. So you can find one strand runs from 5' to DF, another one is 3' to 5', and you can find out the distance is around 3.4 nanometer, and between the base pairs distance is 0.34 nanometer, and the diameter between the two strands is 2 nanometer, and there is a major groove and there is a minor groove, and there are nitrogenous bases, and there is a sugar and a phosphate which serves as a background for the DNA. Okay.